Kia ora, New Zealand. I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks for joining us. Well, it was a very windy night overnight in Auckland. Extra makeup around the eyes today. Been up since about 2 o'clock this morning as those gales came in. And it's not just me. Many of you awake since those very early hours. We saw wind gusts getting up to 140 kilometres an hour. I think 139. Brian Hamilton recorded that out on the Manukau Heads I saw on Twitter. So that's pretty strong. And we had sustained gales at Auckland Airport and across the city. So not surprising at all. The winds were caused not just by these sou'westers, but I'll show you in a moment why the winds tweaked a little bit further in Auckland. But as you can see at the moment, there is a southerly flow across the country, so the temperatures are down, especially in the South Island. There was a few snow flurries around Mount Cook this morning, and we are expecting some frosty weather tonight because this thin area here of high pressure is about to move in, and all that windy weather just disappears. So why was it so windy in Auckland? This map from 3 o'clock this morning, the gust map, shows you precisely why. It's this small area of low pressure. Really good way of looking at it. You've got the southwesters. Imagine them, each one of these arrows is a lane on a motorway, and you're driving on in. But these lanes over on the side, because of this area of low pressure, are being squashed into one spot. And that's that big arrow here coming right across Auckland City. We have seen this before in 2018. Remember that big windstorm we had in Auckland in April 2018? The power was knocked out all over the place. One of the biggest windstorms Auckland's had. This one was a baby version of that. It had a very similar setup with low pressure right here over Waikato, squeezing that wind right across Auckland. It's moved up across most of northern New Zealand now, and as that low pressure moves away, then those lanes fan back out again, and you have just sort of the normal windy sou'westers, and that's pretty much what is kicking in now across the rest of Tuesday. And this is how we look at lunchtime Wednesday. What windy weather. It is calm pretty much everywhere. Still a bit windy on that southerly side, with the southerlies on that eastern side, over here around Wairoa, Mahia Peninsula, Gisborne, some parts of coastal Hawke's Bay. Frosty weather in the morning around the South Island, inland especially. There'll be some heavy frosts. Look at the size of the low though, as it moves out over the Chatham Islands, 973. Pretty big stormy system over there. They'll be getting severe gales and heavy rain and that wintry southerly. And then there's, speaking of wintry southerlies, another one coming out of Australia on Wednesday. Well, nothing too major, not compared to the weather you've been having in Australia. Then that moves out to sea, which means on Thursday, our weather changes again. Back to nor'westers, warmer again for the North Island. That early spring weather pattern certainly seems to be around for the North Island. The South Island, they might argue back on that point. It's still a pretty cold place to be at the moment, and that blue line's indicating that. So snow flurries on Thursday around the Southern Alps and rain over on the west coast. And by Friday, the South Island actually eases, clears up for the most part. There's a little bit of wet weather in the very top of the island, small area of low pressure, and that encourages more of those northwest winds and showers along northern and western sides of the North Island. Into the weekend, and back come the sou'westers for the whole country. So it gets a bit windy again, not as bad as what we've just had, but it'll still be pretty blustery on Saturday by the looks of it, and another surge of cold air with more wintry weather coming back into the lower South Island. And our final map is for Sunday, and that shows another wintry day across the whole country. So we'll be getting that temperature drop right up to the very far north. But we've got this huge high from Australia that's trying to come on in after it. And I think what that might do next week is perhaps encourage a bit more settled weather for northern New Zealand, but more of those windy westerlies, and that should help lift temperatures up. As we said in our Climate Watch video that we've just launched, and if you haven't watched it yet, please do, talking about August's weather, and what that is showing is that the first week of August is looking a bit cold, but by the second and third weeks, things do start to settle back down again. That's all from me. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. We will see you again on Wednesday.